Is the UK pension system broken or just badly explained? Well, if you've ever stared at your pension statement and thought, what on earth am I actually looking at? You're not alone. Whilst we've covered everything from early retirement to smart tax hacks in our 40 plus videos, we've never stepped back, I don't think, and said, let's break down UK pensions from the ground up. Misunderstanding the basics can cost you thousands. And later in this video, I'm going to reveal one UK pension mistake that even savvy investors are making, and of course how to avoid it. And just before we dive in, we've created a handy little guide for you. It's filled with handy insights and top tips on everything we've discussed today and more. The link is in the description below, so feel free to download your free copy whenever you're ready. Most people have a pension, that's fair to say, but ask them how it works and you'll probably be met with a blank stare. So this video aims to cut through all of that. We're going to explain what pensions are, how they can significantly support your long-term goals, and why they might be one of the most valuable financial tools that many people overlook. Whether you want to retire early, whether you want to reduce your working hours later in life, or simply gain some peace of mind about the future, understanding pensions will make a real difference. So, what actually is a pension in the first place? Well, a pension is essentially a long-term savings plan, and it's intended to provide you with an income when you stop working. But it's not really. It's more than just putting money aside each month. It includes your own contributions, maybe your employer's contributions, and some tasty tax relief from the government, all invested to grow over time. Now, the issue is that many people never go beyond the basics and miss the opportunity to use their pensions more effectively. When you understand how they work, your pension becomes more than just a backup plan. It becomes a tool for great financial freedom and choice in later life. Now, in the UK, the type of pension you have affects both how your money grows and how you access it in the future. Most people are enrolled into a workplace pension through their employer, so let's start there. Now, workplace pensions typically fall into two categories. You've got defined benefit schemes, DB schemes, and they're often referred to as final salary schemes. And then you've got defined contribution schemes, DC schemes, and these are often referred to quite simply as personal pensions or SIPs. Now, there are a few different types of both DB and DC, but we're going to try and keep it generic and simple today. Defined benefit schemes are called that because the benefits you eventually receive are predefined and they're linked to scheme rules. For example, for every year you work, you might build up 1/60th of your final salary. On top of that, your benefits provide a guaranteed income for life, usually based on your final salary and your years of service. And usually your benefits are index linked as well. And on top of that, there is usually a reduced pension available to your spouse if you die before they do. Now, there were a lot of usuallys in there, and that's because no two schemes are the same. They all have slightly different nuances and rules, so that's why I stuck a lot of usuallys in. Now, these are more common in the public sector and older private companies, and there is also no investment risk to you in terms of the benefits. That's an important part. Now, defined contribution schemes are very different and are now the most common type of pension in the UK. If you're self-employed or you want to save more over and above your employer scheme, a personal pension is often the way to go. Now, these are also very good for parents and grandparents to save into for the children and grandchildren. The only thing that is defined with this type of pension are your contributions, hence the name defined contribution schemes. That's because you defined what goes in. You and your employer can contribute, the government adds tax relief, and the money is then invested. The value of the fund over time depends on the level of contributions, the investment performance, and the charges which apply. And of course, the tax treatment of both the contributions, the investments within that type of scheme, and eventually the tax treatment of any withdrawals you make. So the benefits in retirement are absolutely not defined, but the contributions are. So folks, we've just posted a video about the pros and cons of DC and DB schemes, so please check that out for a bit more detail, and there's a link in the description below. Now, I know for many of you, retirement might feel like a long way off, but starting your pension early can make a really big difference. But why? Well, let's start with tax relief. If you're a basic rate taxpayer, for every £80 you contribute, the government tops it up with another £20. And if you do the maths, 20% tax relief actually delivers a 25% boost. Essentially, it's free money. And if you're a higher rate taxpayer, you could claim back another 20% 100% through your self-assessment tax return, which, mathematically speaking, means it's cost you only £60 to make a £100 contribution, and that is a 66% return on your £60. Now, employer contributions are also a valuable part of the picture. Depending on your workplace scheme, your employer may match your contributions or even paying more than you do. This is extra income that goes straight into your pension, and it can significantly boost your pot over time. So ignoring your pension means missing out on these benefits, which are essentially free money. And if you're self-employed or run your own business, pensions can be one of the most tax-efficient ways to extract your profit and grow your wealth. Now, we've made a video that explores this in a lot more detail, so check that out if you want to learn more about how pensions can work for business owners and entrepreneurs. There's a link in the comments as per usual. Now, in today's modern world, a good pension provider can give you access to the very best investment funds available. And believe me, not all pension providers or investments were created equal. Having a pension that only provides access to 5 funds is not as useful as a policy that gives you access to pretty much every investment fund available in the UK, especially as the world is changing so frequently. So making the right choices is critical to getting the best retirement possible. Everybody's situation is different, so it's worth speaking to a financial advisor to understand your options. Of course, pensions are a long-term home for your money. Remember that. In terms of access, your money is usually locked in until you're 55, and that's rising to 57 from April 2028, depending on the year you were born. So if you're saving for something sooner, like a house, a wedding, or a big trip, well, other savings options might be more suitable. Defined contribution pensions are invested, so they will definitely go up and down in value unless you're 100% in cash, which in the long term is probably very silly. So it's important to take ownership and check in regularly. Make sure your plan still aligns with your goals. If you're unsure about your pension or you want to make sure it's working hard for you, we of course can and would be delighted to help. We're offering a completely free pension review, which costs us over £800 to deliver, but there's no catch, there's no obligation to come on board as a client, just clear, personalized, professional, regulated advice based on your goals. Why don't you click the link in the description to find out more? We'd love to help you build your personalized retirement plan so you can get excited about what's possible, and it's a great opportunity, so please grab it by the proverbials. So how much can you pay into your pension, and what, if any, are the limits? Let's cover that. Each tax year, there's a cap on how much you can contribute to your pension whilst still benefiting from tax relief, and this is known as the annual allowance. For the 25-26 tax year, the standard annual allowance is £60,000. And that applies across all of your pension schemes combined, not just one. And here's the catch: your personal limit could be lower depending on your circumstances. For example, if your adjusted income, which includes pension contributions, is over £260,000, your allowance might be tapered down potentially to as low as £10,000. If you've already started drawing from the taxable element of your pension, using Flexi Access Drawdown for example, you'll be subject to the Money Purchase Annual Allowance, shortened to the MPAA. Now that restricts contributions to just £10,000 a year. But on the flip side, if you haven't used all your allowance in the last 3 years, you might be able to carry it forward, which could allow you to contribute more than £60,000 in a single year and still get full tax relief. The rules are pretty complex, and what's available to you in particular depends on your income, whether you're self-employed, if you've accessed any pensions previously, and some other factors as well. So please get regulated advice for your personal situation. Now, if you've got a defined benefit pension, the growth is fixed based on your salary and the years of service. There's no investment risk to you involved. Since the income is guaranteed, you don't need to worry about how the markets perform or where your money is invested. With a defined contribution pension, your pot's growth is influenced by 3 main factors: how much you put in, how well your investments perform, and how long you leave your money invested. Pension providers usually offer a range of investment strategies tailored to different levels of risk. Younger savers often lean towards higher risk options, aiming for greater long-term returns, whilst those approaching retirement might typically shift to lower risk strategies to protect what they've built up. And I say might because that particular strategy of de-risking as you get older is probably not right for most people if you understand what risk means and the time frames we're working to. Talk to us more about that in your annual review. And at the heart of all this is what we call compound growth, where your investment returns begin to generate returns of their own, returns upon returns. Given enough time, this can significantly boost your pension's value, and it's never too late to make a difference. Even if you're starting later in life, increasing your contributions or refining your investment strategy can still lead to really meaningful improvements in your retirement outcome, especially with the right guidance and planning and a great hand to hold. When you reach the point where you want to start drawing from your pension, your options will depend on the type of scheme you have, of course. If you're in a defined benefit scheme, you'll typically receive a regular, guaranteed income from a set retirement age. Some schemes will allow you to take a tax-free lump sum up front, and many include benefits for a spouse or dependent if you pass away. One thing to think about there, and we get a lot of questions about this, is should I take maximum tax-free cash from my defined benefit scheme, or should I take maximum pension, or a mixture of the both? And that's a good conversation to have, and we'd like to have it with you. For defined contribution pensions, you have more flexibility. Usually you can take up to 25% of your pension pot tax-free. What you do with the rest depends on your personal circumstances, and there's no one-size-fits-all approach. Two common options are an annuity, which is a product you can purchase using some or all of your pension pot, and it provides a guaranteed income for life or for a set period, and the amount you receive depends on things such as annuity rates, which are quite often dependent on your age, how healthy you are or unhealthy, and any additional features you choose like inflation protection or a pension for your spouse or partner. The second typical option is drawdown, and that's also known as income drawdown or flexi income drawdown. This allows you to leave your money invested and withdraw income as and when you choose, regularly or as one-off payments. It offers loads of flexibility and the potential for further investment growth over its lifetime. But it comes with risk. If markets fall or you withdraw too much too quickly, you could run out of money. You're not limited to choosing one option, of course. You can combine annuities and drawdown in a way that suits your goals. For example, some people choose to secure enough guaranteed income through an annuity to cover essential and basic costs whilst using drawdown for more flexible spending. And remember, of course, state pension is part of that guaranteed secure income, so you should be building that in when you're planning. What's most important is finding the approach that works best for you and your circumstances, and your decision will affect your financial well-being for many years, so it's strongly recommended that you speak with a financial advisor, explore your options and get it right. We've actually covered this topic in a lot more detail in one of our latest videos, so be sure to check it out for a fuller breakdown. Now, there are several important pension changes taking effect this year, this is 2025, that could impact your retirement planning. Here's a quick overview of what's new and what to watch for in 2025. So from the 6th of April 2025, the full new state pension has increased a wee bit to £230.25 per week, up from £221.20 per week. That's for the 24-25 tax year, that last one. Now, this rise is based on what they call the triple lock, although there's ongoing debate about whether the policy will continue in its current form in future years. You've got to keep your eye on that. The lifetime allowance was abolished in April 2024, removing the cap on how much you can build up in pensions without facing extra tax charges. Now, this change is especially relevant to higher earners and those with larger pension pots. From April 2027, the government's plan is that pension pots will be subject to inheritance tax calculations. Now, this change could seriously impact individuals with SIPs and personal pensions or small self-administered schemes, which are shortened to SASS, SSASS, so particularly business owners. But in reality, this rule will impact a lot of people who weren't expecting it. So really, you need to be getting advice on how that might play out for you. Now, finally, the long-awaited pensions dashboard is expected to begin rollout in 2026. I hope it's digital. This tool will help individuals see all their pension pots in one place, which is really useful for people who have changed jobs multiple times. And if you'd like any further information on this, please post your question in the chat below and we'll do our best to answer it. It's crucial to stay up to date, folks, with these changes because they're constantly up for review and you could lose out if you're not very well informed. Now, pensions are more than just retirement accounts. They are financial tools that give you more and more choices in life. That's whether that's retiring early, whether it's working a wee bit less, or whether it's just to give you greater security in your later later years. The most important thing is to take some action and get advised. That might mean checking your current pension, increasing your contributions, or speaking to a financial advisor. Combining your pension planning with other savings options like ISAs and ordinary cash and general investment accounts and stocks and shares and property, all of those things can help you create a much more flexible and resilient financial future. Too many people drift towards retirement without a real certain plan, and that is not great. But the steps you take now can make all the difference later. I completely forgot to mention our competition. For those that don't know, we are giving away £100 gift voucher by the end of August 2025. You see, we're on a real mission here to hit 20,000 subscribers by the end of 25, and we want you to join the party. It's super easy. Just subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Come on, just get it done. Don't miss out. Click the link in the description for all the details on how to enter. This is your shot to snag some extra cash and be part of something big. So please go and check that out. And folks, do you want to make sure your money goes to your loved ones, not the tax man? I hope you do. Then don't miss out our video. Don't pay 40% inheritance tax. Do this instead. It's already live, and we walk you through smart, legitimate ways to reduce or even avoid IHT altogether. We're not talking about loopholes here. We're talking about clear, practical advice. So click here. I'll see you there.